glad we remembered that. Oh, we're live. We almost had an audio malfunction again.
Oh, welcome in live now. Basketball show. Taylor Korn, Jim Dunaway after a 99-94 Florida win here and a senior night ceremony, which is why we're delayed a little bit here. Just instant reaction. We'll start off with the fact that, Alabama, to me, the key stat was they got out-rebounded on their own floor. They got fast break points, 22 fast break points, 19 second chance points from Florida. It just seemed like they were Florida was one step faster to the basketball tonight than Alabama. And that's the key stat to me was the rebounding. And we'll talk about some more things, get your comments in that. But it's a win from a Florida team that we saw also win at Neville Arena. So they've beaten Alabama here. They've beaten Tennessee at home, lost to Tennessee on the road, and they beat Auburn on the road in their only meeting. I'm going to say this. We know Auburn's the number one overall seed in the country. I know Florida's lost some games along the way, but that's a pretty dang good basketball team there. I don't know how you'll have them in your bracket, but depending on their matchup, they will play a long way in my bracket.
Yeah, that's a team that I don't want to see in March.
Yeah.
I don't think that anyone wants to see them in March.
I'll take seeing them again on the Alabama side. Because I don't think I would see them again until the Final Four. That's how good they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you make it that far and you got to see them, then you got to see them.
That's right. You got to see them.
But anytime prior.
You got to see them. You got to see them.
You got to see them. You got to see them.
Yeah.
But no, what a great game.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it was.
Did you not think that was an entertaining basketball game?
It was entertaining. It didn't. They got up to a 99-94 game like I thought it would get to. It was going to be a high-scoring game and go over 178.5, which was a high number. But I thought we'd get there with a lot more three-point shots because these two teams are such good three-point shooters. But if you look at the numbers, Florida and Alabama, they really did it more at the rim than they did from three-point shooting, right?
If I'm trying to do some quick math, 100 of the – I can't do mental math right now. Yeah. But about 50% of points came from the paint.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then a lot from the free throw line. Not enough for Alabama as they continue to struggle shooting free throws. But it wasn't the fast pace. Like, I don't think it was as well played as the Auburn game here in the same building. I thought Auburn Alabama was a lot more entertaining, well played game. This one was officiated a little different. Not that it benefited one team and the other, but it was a physical, not a lot of foul calls in the game. And, Alabama's not a very physical team sometimes. So they didn't get a lot of fouls that they needed to get called, I think, in this game that was going to help them out a little bit.
I mean, I didn't think.
No, there was no benefit. There was no benefit. I mean, it works both ways. Alabama was able to foul their big guys, which helps Alabama because they're not as physical. Right. I'm not saying it helped them. I'm just saying the way it was officiated.
Or not.
Like we were at the under 12 timeout in the first half, and it was 3 fouls to 3 fouls.
Yeah.
I mean, each team had 3 fouls, and I was like, man, when's the last time I've seen a college basketball game go to the under 12 timeout and neither team has, we're not even approaching the bonus on either side yet. It was.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think, watching it from a fan perspective, you're obviously going to see things differently. I didn't think it was a poorly officiated game.
Again, I didn't say that. No, just the way it was officiated. It was. They let them play a lot more. They let them play like it was Tennessee playing Texas A&M, like we should have put on our shoulder pads and a helmet.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't the way I thought this game would end up being played. And I think in a way, it could have helped Alabama defensively because Alabama's not as physical. They got a lot of big guys. So if you're letting them bump and grind and stuff, that could help Alabama on the defensive end. And I thought it did early on. But then on the other end, you got to officiate the same way on both ends. So if they're letting you bang and push and hold on one end, you get to the other end, they're going to bang and push on you and not get the call. And that doesn't free up Mark Sears to shoot 3 or Philon or Holloway. And that's why Alabama ended up shooting a lot of it in the paint.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw Alabama take those little 5 to 7 foot jumpers like they were doing all night?
Not often.
They were doing that a lot early on.
They were. And something else that I think is a topic of conversation that we're going to be talking about a lot is obviously offensively, you scored 94 points. It's the defensive end of the court that they needed to get stops. And the Alex Condon, Walter Clayton Jr. duo is lethal. We watched him go off in Auburn. We watched Walter Clayton Jr. go off in Auburn. He was shooting threes from the parking lot, and he was hitting them.
Yeah.
But they're hard to stop, and if you can't stop this team offensively, so I think that's what it's going to come down to. And Florida's a good defensive team as well. And Alabama was able to put up points, but they can't get stops when they need them.
And what was the most surprising play you saw all night long that they kept going back to? For me, it was that backdoor alley-oop dunk.
Yes. And some of them, I was like, there's no way. I figured that it was going to be – I didn't know it was going to happen, but I was like, there's no way that this is going in. And then they proved me wrong time and time again.
You mean like when he would lob it up and like you couldn't even see a guy coming at first, and then he would come out of nowhere. And I was like, he's not going to make it to the rim, and then he would make it to the rim and slam it home.
Well, he also would have – there would be two
We're both
defenders.
Down there where it happened.
Yeah, I'm like, as if we're going to replay it.
Yeah.
There would be two defenders in between he and the basket, and he would like sneak under the basket. I don't know. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he stayed in bounds doing it. He did. I was sitting right there, but it was impressive.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I enjoy watching that Florida team play tremendously. And I did last year, too. When we saw them in Nashville at the SEC tournament, I was like, man, that's a fun team right there. And they had that tragic injury, got ran out of the building.
And he's playing.
He is playing. And I think he had a couple of those dunks flying out of nowhere.
Who didn't? I mean,
so
Alex Condon is an Australian kangaroo.
Yeah,
he's something.
I mean, if that's the way they grow them down there, let's start the trend like they do with the Australian punters and start just importing those kids from down there. Condon is really, really good.
Yeah.
Frequent phrase heard all year versus Alabama defense, career high. You've got that a lot. I don't know if anybody had a career high for Florida tonight. I wasn't listening to the broadcast, but Condon had 27.
Not Walter Clayton Jr., because I'm pretty sure he scored like.
Yeah, he had 22 tonight.
Yeah.
24 at Auburn or something like that.
I don't know. I feel like
he's had more than 22 in his career.
Yeah. I don't remember how much he had at Auburn.
For Condon there. All right, roll through your comments. Zach says, man, our bigs got taken behind the woodshed tonight.
Oh. Yeah. Wait, you comment, and then I have a thought.
No, I don't have a comment on that. That is a what I would say fact.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, my comment isn't necessarily on that, but I think that I have noticed something. We've talked a lot about Grant Nelson, what's going on with Grant Nelson. And yesterday on the initial availability report, he was questionable. I believe it was questionable.
What for?
And it
doesn't say.
And then today, when I went back and looked, he was off. Oh, they're shutting things down here. He was not on it. So I was like, okay, whatever. So maybe he's a little bit banged up. I don't know. But something that I've noticed is earlier this season, I feel like he was hitting a decent amount of 3-point shots, and he seems to be hesitating. So I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but is that something you notice? It seems like he would have an open look, and he would hesitate, and he would either drive or he would be looking to pass the ball. And he shot one, I believe it was in the first half, did not fall. And then I was like, I don't know if he shot another one the rest of the game. I can look.
That's a great observation. He did not.
That was his one. So I don't know if it's a confidence thing and he's second guessing himself, thinking about it a minute too long when he would typically just be getting the shot off, and then either doesn't have a good look anymore or he's giving the ball up because he just doesn't feel confident in shooting. But that's something that I noticed a lot tonight.
No, I think that's a fabulous observation because you're 100% right. He ended up passing on some open threes to dribble down, and that's not what he did last year. Last year, he's one of the
beginning of this year.
Yeah, it was one of the better 3-point shooters. He's got zero confidence right now on the offensive end. He's still busting it out there defensively and fighting for rebounds, but yeah, you're right. Offensively, he is. Sometimes he's driving and losing the ball and falling down. Looks different. Different.
I don't know what's going on.
Andy says Sweet 16 is this team's ceiling, no doubt. I want to see the draw and everything. I understand, and tell me if I'm wrong about this. I understand you're on a 2-game losing streak. What have you? I don't know how many. 4. You lost 4. Whatever. You lost to Auburn, Missouri, Tennessee, and Florida. But I will say this to Andy is that until you play Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, maybe Missouri, but that was a bad game coming off Auburn. But I'll say Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. I want to know how many teams you're going to play in the NCAA tournament that's as good as Auburn and Florida. And Tennessee was up there, and I thought Alabama outplayed them. So I'm just going to say Auburn, Florida. I expect Alabama to lose again on Saturday. But you have to sort of keep in mind that Auburn and Florida may be the two best teams in the country. So when you say Sweet 16 is the ceiling, I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm just not ready to go there yet. I think this team could still be really, really good in the tournament. And I think they could still make it to a Final Four. I think Auburn and Florida are good. I think Alabama is good. I think Houston and Duke are good. Those are my 5 teams. I said that on the show today. How do you feel? You watch a lot more basketball even than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that you need to keep in mind as a fan of any SEC team is the fact that you're not losing to bad teams. I mean, there are some lower tier SEC teams that are, questionable. I think a lot of people are in the dark in terms of what to think about them. But the majority of the teams that you're playing in conference play are elite. They're ranked in the top 25 in the country. So in past seasons when, a number of conference losses might be quote unquote bad losses, the majority of these aren't, because that was the number 5 team in the country that you just played. So I think that you got to give yourself a little reality check at times, because this conference is full of talent, is full of teams. I mean, every week when the AP poll comes out, half the top 25 is SEC teams. So you can't, I don't think that any win or any loss, you can, swing too far one way in excitement or too far the other way, because I mean, this is the reality of the SEC this season.
Yeah.
That is my opinion.
Now, could they lose in the second round? Sure. I mean,
but like anyone can.
We see it happen. But I still have confidence that this team is really, really good. And I think they're better than last year's team. I think they're playing better basketball right now than last year's team was right now. Because you remember, it was this Florida team, right? Help me with my memory. This Florida team that ran Alabama out of Nashville. They blew them out.
Because they played 3 times last season. I think Alabama went 1-2.
Yeah. But they were the team that sent Alabama packing in Nashville in the first game up there. And I thought to myself, okay, what is that team going to do? 11 losses. What are they going to do in the NCAA tournament? They went to the Final Four. So I wouldn't even said Sweet 16 was the ceiling last year, and they ended up to the Final Four. So I'm not ready to go there. Now, this is a comment that is very common on social media tonight. Andrew says, what a lazy game by Alabama. No defense tonight in this game at all. I did think there was some defense, especially in the first 10 minutes of the game. It just got to where Todd Golden and them, they had a plan. And, man, that backdoor stuff.
Yeah, good luck stopping that.
Yeah, but it broke Alabama what they were trying to do. And then they started to adjust to try to take away some of what the bigs were doing inside. And that got them out of position all over the court. And for me, and that's when the defense really started to go bad. But Andrew, early on, you played 40 minutes, so 10 minutes of good defense isn't very good, I guess. But the first 10 minutes, I felt like, okay, man, this defense has improved. And then it didn't.
What?
You were talking about the SEC. Before I forget about this, I had this stat for you. Florida's program, they've won 2 national championships in the history of their program. They've had 5 top 10 matchups coming into this year where they were in the top 10 and the team they were playing was in the top 10
right
in SEC play. 5 in the history of their program, and they're 2-time national champions. They've had 5. This was their 5th one this year.
Yeah.
Of 2
I'm
top
not
10
surprised.
teams.
I'm not surprised.
So, I mean, it's pretty crazy how awesome it has been this year. But who is our guy on today? Dallin, I forget Dallin's last name. But Dallin was on our show earlier today, the ESPN analyst. And he said he believes the national champions will come from, he likes Auburn, he likes Florida, and he threw in Alabama. Those were the 3 teams he thinks. And, I'm not ready to go that. On the other extreme, 16 seems to be too low. But still,
I don't think that you should put a ceiling on any of these teams, really, because, again, since non-conference games, which was a long time ago, and at the very beginning of the season, that's the last time that we saw any of these teams play a level of competition that is not what they've seen over the past 17 games, 18 games. I guess it's 17 right now, 18. Yeah. So teams gel and they mesh as the season goes on. They improve. They get to know each other. You know, you have high school guys coming in. You have guys from the transfer portal coming in, and you improve throughout the season. So put one of these teams, these SEC teams, in, let's just say the ACC. Let's use the ACC as our punching bag. And instead of playing whatever game any of these SEC teams are playing on Saturday, one of these, you know, top tier SEC teams are playing on Saturday, put them in the ACC. Yeah. And that would be a more accurate representation of the first couple round teams. You know, everything comes down to matchups, but that's not going to be a first round SEC tournament game. So it's like the concern about these games is just crazy because it's elite competition every game.
I wish South Carolina, we could go in a time machine, put South Carolina in the ACC with this team this year and see if they could have finished second behind Duke.
Well, that's exactly.
And I think they're that good.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is that, like, you really just have to put it into perspective because these are elite teams that you're playing, the top 5 team in the country. In another conference, if you're putting the talent that is in the top of the SEC, in the Floridas, in the Alabamas, in the Auburns, and you stick them in the middle, in another conference in the middle of the conference, then they would probably be running teams out of the building too.
Sonny is right. Alabama, if they're lucky, will finish 4th in the SEC. It depends really.
Missouri,
right. Who is playing, was trailing at halftime by 13. They're down 12 right now with 5:34 playing to play in that game at Oklahoma. So if Missouri loses that game, that locks Alabama
to a double bye. Correct.
To a double bye. The worst they could finish would be 4th at that point, and it would take Tennessee losing twice, which isn't going to happen because they play the South Carolina team I was just bragging on.
It's looking like Missouri's about to lose.
Yeah, 77-65 right now, 5:34 to play in the contest there. So that would like Alabama in 4th in the SEC, Sonny H, but still get that double bye. What that would do, though, put them on Auburn's side of the bracket. So if they both won on Friday, we would get them on Saturday in the semifinals. And then the winner of Florida, Tennessee, if everything held chalk, versus the winner of Auburn, Alabama for the SEC championship. SEC is a monster league. Thank you for that. Not good closing the season 0-3. That's where you're headed if you don't upset number 1 Auburn on Saturday. And I would agree. I mean, it's not a great look, but you know that's the schedule you were dealt. And you know, if you spread those 3 losses out throughout the year, probably feels better than packing them here at the end. But I really thought, you know, 1 and 2 would have been good in these 3 games, and you probably let your one get away in Knoxville in the last 30 seconds. And then tonight, I really felt good driving over here. Like I didn't even make my usual bet of putting money on Florida. I didn't put it on Alabama. I just didn't make a bet. I actually played the under. And, well, that didn't win.
Nope. You're losing money tonight. Well, something else that I noticed, I guess I would like to see if you agree, is I feel like they were playing the same type of game offensively. Tempo, very, 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 very fast-paced game. And like you talked about at the beginning of the show, the fast break points. Florida had 22 fast break points and only 7 points off turnovers. And Alabama only had 6 turnovers this game. I don't know if this is the first game that they've had less turnovers than the opponent, but they only had 6 turnovers. But I think that I don't know if getting beat at your own game is the proper terminology, but it is a lot of what Alabama does. They get the ball back on offense. If they make a defensive stop, you know, you blink and they're at the other end of the court. And that's a lot of what Florida was doing. The pace was through the roof.
22 fast break points. Crazy.
Yeah. And if you're already not the best defensive team, transition defense. If you're already not the greatest defensive team in a normal pace game, then imagine, you know, you're speeding it up by 10, it seemed like tonight just watching, and it's probably not going to go great.
Jeff likes Auburn, Duke, Houston, Florida. Definitely 4 of the best teams in the country right there. All right, that's 19 good minutes of post-game reaction there. We appreciate you guys being with us. Let's see. Jerry likes Duke, Auburn, Houston, Gators as well. Not a love for Tennessee. Not a lot of love for Tennessee either. Blueberry does. There he goes. Go Vols. Is that a throw up or is that a tongue
I think
out?
it's a money sign.
Money sign. Okay. So a loss here to wrap up the season. That's it for Coleman Coliseum for us. We got one more Saturday at Neville. You're looking around
building.
in case you ever come back.
In case they tear it down.
Wait. Are you taking a shot at the building?
Yeah.
On your way out?
Yeah, Dunaway. I take so many shots at you on these shows. Roles reverse. Let's reverse the roles. Let's run the tape.
Wait, you looked around like.
Yeah, I'm just.
You said it's a beautiful building, which usually when that phrase is said, it's usually sarcastic.
Yeah, I'm just looking around because I'm about to leave and not come back till next year. That's it. That's all that's happening.
Yeah, it was a fun 15 games here. I felt like I came to all of them. You came to most of them here.
As many as I could.
And then Neville on Saturday will be post game 1:30 tip.
Mm-hmm.
And then the post game right afterwards because you guys will do your senior day.
Yeah, I didn't
before the game.
Didn't love the setup to be completely honest, but it is what it is.
Apparently, I have not been here, but apparently they do that. They've done that every year with Nate here.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't paid attention to the senior night ceremony schedule, so I'm not sure about that.
I didn't either until the night when it delayed us.
Yeah,
and I was
not great, but
why do you do it afterwards? And then when you lose, doing it afterwards, it was.
He probably was thinking about that too.
Not very ceremonious.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure it'd have been lit if they'd won the game.
Lit. Yeah, you would have been down there celebrating with them.
No, I did. I tried to get a picture of Mark when he was walking out. He was busy signing 18 screaming kids.
Yeah, signing the 6-year-old's autographs. He didn't have time for you.
All right, that's our show tonight. We appreciate you being with us on the basketball show. We'll tape one tomorrow night. That'll be ready for you Friday. And Saturday morning, get you ready for the weekend, and then we're off to Auburn, and then off to Nashville next week, where our coverage will happen on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all the way through the weekend. Thanks for being with us on the basketball show.